My Heroic Academy climaxed some time ago. Currently, Horikoshi is drawing the equivalent of taking the narrative out back and planting a bullet in its skull. So the time and popular opinion feels right to vent my frustrations with the series. God knows nobody hates my hero more than the fans, making me not very qualified to hate it. Wait, what? Okay, so I mentioned in the Attack on Titan video, I don't really engage with anime fandoms in any way, so I'm pretty out of the loop in terms of what the fan base as a whole dislikes. In my badass research, I found I agree with the fans on most things, but be prepared for some hot takes. And keep in mind my criticisms are objectively correct, and any disagreement will be classified as a cope. Ask any aspiring author or mediocre dungeon master and they'll tell you one of the best bits of crafting a story is the world building. Just look at the culture of OCs within the My Hero community and it's easy to see that wanting to exist in this world, so long as you can select your genetic superiority, is a major attraction. It's a world where almost everyone is born with some kind of superpower, and when everyone's super, no one will be. Right off the bat we have a unique setting with an interesting social conflict. It's a good spin on the usual people who are different get discriminated. In this case, it's the ordinary ones who are the odd ones out. My Hero Academia takes place in a stable society where 20% of the population are born quirkless. History shows people are quick to shun those deemed lesser, and here we have a minor fraction of the population who literally have less ability.
Here's the sad truth. All men are not created equal.
I do say what a great setup this is, can't wait to see this idea not explored. 20% of the human population isn't a small number. That's 1 in 5 people. That's just over 1 billion people if you pretend the world has a population of 6 million. Don't get me wrong, the tone of My Hero would probably be dragged down by issues of genetic inferiority, but as the story moved on past Deku receiving his quirk, the idea that some people don't have quirks is forgotten, save for female number 287 and female number 84. 1 in 5 characters we encounter shouldn't have a quirk, but it's hard to write conflict when the enemy doesn't have a badass power. God forbid Deku ever were to meet a quirkless villain with a shotgun and decent object tracking. Currently, the society of My Hero Academia is beyond fucked. So the war arc ends with the villains winning, Endeavor getting outed, and... Alright, okay, there goes infrastructure. Yeah, sure. I wish we had a criminal so powerful they could bring down the system just by red-pilling the population.
News right now, disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein has taken his own life while he was behind bars.
Like in real life, even before Endeavor got exposed, there would be like 50 conspiracy podcasts discussing Endeavor's involvement with the deep state. It's no secret in this wild, wacky world, superheroes and associated characters are currently the most influential form of media worldwide. Part of My Hero Academia's success was in no small part due to the 2010s renaissance of superhero films and media. My Hero is in some ways a love letter to the genre, both Eastern and Western. This makes it all the more confusing when the tone and attitude towards heroes the story pushes is constantly changing. For every whoa, go heroes moment, we get a brooding reflection on what a true hero is. Right, now this next point is a nitpick. Okay, I'm delving into CinemaSins tier here, but yes, it would be strange if every major world event was limited to the Greater Tokyo area of Japan. Okay, yeah, I understand within the constraints of the narrative it needs to feel somewhat grounded, so sure, have major conflicts local to a country, but you can't have it both ways. Containing events within the scope of a country means you can't then make them global when you want to. So now, within 100 chapters in the story, we've gone from mucking about in school to global catastrophe. Making a story with a large cast is pretty hard. Some stories can focus on many different characters at once. This is great in making the world feel alive and real with many different moving parts. Some stories prefer to hyper-focus on one or two characters, allowing for a deep and complex dive into their psyche, and then maybe having some smaller characters around them to assist with plot progression, providing a smaller scale yet tighter narrative. My Hero takes the unique route of having many different characters, kind of developing them for a little bit, and then blacklisting their names from the story. This isn't necessarily a problem. If the story Horikoshi wants to tell doesn't need a large cast, then he can ignore certain characters from time to time. That's how minor characters are supposed to work. But what we get is this awkward in-between where all 20 members of 1A, 15 external heroes, and a sizable assortment of villains must share the same minor role in an already packed narrative. You don't have to observe the My Hero community for long to see the role the side characters play. I know it's an anime thing to select a waifu or a husbando, but I don't know what crack these people are smoking. Almost every secondary and tertiary protagonist can be summarized in one or two words. Stupid and male. Uptight, intelligent male. Uptight, intelligent female. Angry, sad boy. Sad, angry boy. Grumpy teacher. Yeah, I'm sure a true diehard
greedy, gaping jaw
fan could write me a 10,000 word dissertation on why this character is a masterclass in Shakespearean character crafting, but please, I implore you, if Koji was placed on Epstein Island with a wad of 50s and a fragment of prophecy, what would he do? Pussy, yeah! The UA traitor subplot was shit because how can you suspect anyone when you don't know anything about them? Oh, like, what little clues did Horikoshi leave throughout the series for us to figure it out? What a compelling mystery. Character interactions are bad. Why don't we get some conflict among the class surrounding fighting villains? You know, maybe some trolley debate shenanigans surrounding killing villains? No? No, we're all epic and cool heroes. It's undeniable fandom headcanon has made these characters what they are, that being slightly memorable instead of being slightly forgettable. I too am guilty of this. Koji and Sato's lack of involvement with the rest of the class makes me believe that they aren't really good friends with anyone and only walk around together out of desperation, going back home at any opportunity they get with a constant disappointment that their time at UA isn't what they hoped. At this stage, even some of the developed student characters are near forgotten. Ida, I don't actually recall anything he did in the last 50 chapters. I mean, he spoke and was in the school children public bath scene. When watching the show, I get the impression Horikoshi was trying to find a central trio with a good dynamic to carry the story. Initially, it seems like he landed on Ida and Uraraka, then toying with Todoroki in the mix, and eventually settling on Bakugo and Dek and Shoto. I personally would have preferred if he kept rotating around the entire class, eventually landing on Deku, Seto, and Sato. Now that's a dynamic. All 200 characters having plot armor makes it hard to feel any tension during the story. At the start of the war, when we had some deaths of named characters, I was, for the first time, slightly invested in the actions of the protagonists, as I briefly believed that we might lose a main character somewhat significant to the plot. Clearly, this wasn't the case, and now going into the finale, I'm doubtful the protagonists are in any real danger. I mean, okay, fine, dramatic value, one major character will die, that's my prediction, locking it in right there. Yeah, the lack of meaningful death is a real problem. The stakes feel reduced, and events that are supposed to be distressing to the protagonists and audience just feel meaningless.
Changing the world, my final message, goodbye.
The only time a death ever visibly affected a character was Senaitai, but we knew him for about 12 episodes, and Deku seemed to get over that pretty quick. Literally trauma for character development. The only significant death during the war, not really a war, it took place over an afternoon, I've seen cricket games go on longer, was Midnight. That's a safe death. She never had any key plot relevance, nor did she have any major connection to any characters. I don't know, every dramatic guideline would point to Aizawa being killed. Deku and friends going to face their greatest and final challenge without their mentor would be cool, but no, he just loses an eye. Oh, there it goes. And now Aizawa joins All Might in the Council of Heroes who kinda fell off. If my time observing DeviantArt OCs has taught me anything, it's that character design is a skill that's learnt, and a hard skill to learn at that. After creating characters for some time, you'll be able to tell the audience about them with just their appearance. Horikoshi, who makes a living off designing likable characters, naturally is very good at it. Oh no. The design of the characters gets memed a lot, and not in the One Piece, wow, what a crazy and out there design for an individual, but in the wow, what the fuck am I looking at kind of way. With a lot of the characters in universe designing their own appearance, the lines can be blurred between bad character design and certain characters not being able to design outfits. I get this, and the way a character dresses themselves in universe can be an interesting insight into their personality, but please, God, no. The most prominent issue with character design can be seen in essentially every female character. Alright, I've put it off long enough. So I understand there's a weird transcultural acceptance of female sexualization in anime. I don't know if it's just the insular nature of the surrounding community, or if it's just because it's animated, so not real. But things get pretty sus when those characters in question's age drops below Discord girlfriend limit. For fuck's sake, Horikoshi, seize the day, my guy. Get creative instead of skin suit with pattern 201. Actually, I take it back. Character design is easy, but by the infinite hatred of God, I have to see these brightly coloured assholes hijinks for 6 whole seasons. I feel pretty confident in saying that this has always been a pretty well-known and uncomfortable issue for many. Only now Horikoshi has lost the favour of the masses, he's beginning to see backlash. Right, okay, what's the major defense for this? They look like adults and are essentially written like adults. Right, yeah, written like adults until they're written like children. And before you go accusing me of being a stick in the mud and not letting you place your badass frog statue in the jar, let me say this applies to both political sides. Neckbeards listening to Momo Autism ASMR as they wank is just as bad as Chloe, she/her, fantasizing about All Might sodomizing his ward. Like, all these brain-dead loser kids clearly should be spending more time socializing at school instead of thinking about anime. Like, that's not how relationships work. Not every human on Earth is going to be a member of the LGBTQ community. This is all just further enforcing my belief that children should not be allowed to express themselves in any way. They get one Marvel poster and can possibly start painting miniatures at 16 years old if the parents feel they're ready. Honestly, the most heartbreaking thing about My Hero is now approaching its end. We have an idea of how it will be remembered. Learning Attack on Titan was ending was sad, but also exciting. The story was already racing towards a deserved climax, and the audience didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't even really know what they wanted to happen. My Hero, on the other hand, has squandered any chance of an epic climax. As the end approached, the pace sped up to such a degree I'm still recovering from the whiplash. Oh no, the hero's lost big time. Time for some reflection. Oh no, never mind. Deku's a vigilante now. Whoa, I wonder what he's gonna do. Oh no, never mind. He's back, and we're back to the status quo. Now we have the final tussle underway. We have the good guys, the bad guys, and anyone in between has now been made good, in a story where the good guys always win, no matter how bad the odds are. Like, okay, what third act twist can we expect? It's either going to be the heroes will win with great sacrifice, or with great sacrifice, the heroes will win. Oh no, sorry, spoiler, I just gave away the entire final arc. Okay, yeah, so it would be disappointing as a fan if everyone we loved in the story was captured and killed via lethal injection, but it would also be nice to lean forward in my chair every now and then when reading the story. As mentioned earlier, I wish the story went in a direction with any nuance, kill off a main character, have some reflection on the nature of quirks or the profession of a hero. Here's my 5-stage plan to save My Hero Academia. You know, if it wasn't ending. If I had every idea the same and was a sexually repressed Japanese millennial. Number 1, write a fucking first draft. Have the story I want to tell written out from beginning to end. Therefore, I can introduce concepts and characters at the right time without certain segments feeling too cramped and ensure the pacing feels good throughout. With this newfound planning, step 2, stick with a small school cast of characters. Speaking purely in terms of UA students here, have loads of background bean sprouts, but like real school, Deku gravitates to a smaller group of like-minded young heroes. And possibly some individuals on other courses. This can give the school filler some much needed variety in what's going on, i.e. not only hero-related training. Deku goes on more adventures with the smaller group of hero friends he has, meaning we have a more consistent cast and don't get the bursts of just Deku. Also, there gonna be some scallywags in his friend group. This Deku is getting red-pilled. He learns not everyone likes heroes and the government is funding money to insurgency groups in Laos. The heroes will still have the wacky powers and outfits, but after heavy discussion, the party has decided we will not sexualize children in my epic My Hero Academia anime. The League of Villains and All for One still exists in the background, but don't have a connection to every single conflict. It's hard to feel tension when the current antagonists have already been defeated 50 previous times. The League can parallel the heroes, growing as they do, but when they occasionally show up, shit's going down. So long as the League is allowed to win some of the encounters, any time the heroes and villains meet will be 100 times more exciting. Having Deku and Shigaraki both experience loss because of each other throughout the story builds tension between them and means we can have a meaningful final confrontation. And then this is where my OC comes in. Chuck Thungus, Quirk, Senbon Zakura, he can kill anyone within 30 feet. He's really cool, you guys, trust me. Look, I don't know, maybe Horikoshi will pull a curveball and the final arc of My Hero Academia will be remembered as the greatest masterpiece crescendo in all fiction. And in all seriousness, issues like pacing and inconsistent characters can seem not as big of an issue when the completed story is read in full. But I doubt Horikoshi really has that in mind. He wants to move on, and that's fine. Perhaps it's better My Hero Academia dies a mediocre anime than lives long enough to become a slightly shitter one. I wish you could swim like dolphins. Dolphins swim. Nothing would ever bring you together. We can defeat them forever and ever. Oh, we could be heroes. Just for one time.